Vegas, Amanitas, and welcome to Chris Garcia, the Conservative American. Once again, I am here with you. I have three wonderful guests from the last show. You remember Ken, my cousin, was on Face the Tribune. Hi, Ken. How you doing?
Doing well.
My beautiful sister, Yasmin. How are you doing? And again, state your name for the American people.
My name is Joe.
Joe is a good friend of ours, and he's going to talk social issues with us today. I want to put him on the spot. And he was worried about his hat, but he shouldn't be. And we love him here, so it doesn't make any difference. He's a wonderful person. He's extremely intelligent. So, Joe, we're going to dive right into it, and you let me know, what do you think? Because my issue today is a problem with me, and I know everybody does not agree with how I feel about this, but I think that desecrating the American flag in any way, tearing it up, stomping on it, burning it, to me, because I come from a military background, it's very bothersome to me, and I know a lot of American people, it bothers them, especially Donald Trump. What do you think, Joe?
Oh, it definitely bothers me. People die for that flag. Countless years, countless wars,
Absolutely.
countless sons and daughters that fought in these wars, and for them to burn a flag because of a presidential candidate, that they don't want to get that position in office, they're going to burn a flag that doesn't have anything to do with them. That's our country right there. That's everything we stand for, and I don't have any really things to say about that.
I like him. I say I agree with everybody, but I don't. I handpick my people to come on here. I don't know. Me and my sister disagree sometimes. She's a little more liberal than me.
I'm a little bit more
Yasmin,
liberal.
what do you think? What do you think?
I see both sides or perspectives of it. I agree with you. I think understand and respect the flag and what it means, but I think also the people that are choosing to do acts like that, they don't have the awareness of what's really going on, and that's the only way that they're able to show how angry or show their feelings, Is it right or okay or no? Is it disrespectful? Yes. You know what I mean? But I think also we got to remember that's why we live here, to choose whatever we want, to follow whatever religion we want, to listen to, you know what I mean? I think there's different ways to look at it depending on what perspective or lens you want to,
Okay. What about you, Ken? What do you think?
I don't agree with burning a flag. I stand firm when I speak upon opinions and the opinions that people have, but when you're going against what the country stands for or the lives people lost for that flag, because of that flag, we have to go about expressing our anger in different ways.
Sure.
In different ways. And by burning the flag, that's just disrespectful to anyone and everybody who has had anybody in the family of a military background or anybody who has represented that flag. And rather you don't or not, but you gotta take into consideration those people who have died for that flag or represents that flag. So
this country's been around for a couple of centuries, over 250 years, and countless millions of people have died for those stars and stripes. And I think that you can definitely disagree with somebody or have a different opinion without desecrating on our flag. And you try to do that in other countries, they will throw you so far under the prison that you can't do that. So that's just a big problem with me. I think that just because you disagree with the presidential outcome, and to me it's so funny because they were lecturing us on the Donald Trump people on if he loses or when he loses, because they were so sure he was going to lose. How were the Trump people going to respond? And they wanted us to accept the election and to make sure we conducted ourselves properly.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And now you have these people, the Democrats that lost, and now they're out burning the flag and tearing up businesses. Those are people that work very hard to save their money and start a business, and they pay taxes. And they pay taxes so that those kids can go to school. And they're turning around protesting and tearing up property. What do you think about that, Joe? What do you think about that?
It's just a disgrace to destroy somebody's property out of anger for not getting your way. It's just there's no justification for that. I don't feel, anyways. The one thing I'd like to see is more punishments for acts like this.
Yes.
Because in a riot, something like that, somebody goes and vandalizes everybody's stuff.
Yes.
Who gets punished at the end of the day for that? None of those guys, because they all got away, or whatever, but I just feel like there should be way stricter policies in place for, so anybody that has any disrespect towards somebody's property, a flag, it's just, you didn't work for that, somebody else did. Maybe that's their dream, their whole life goal is to start this business right here, and you just destroyed it in 30 seconds.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, what is your view on that, sis, about tearing up property when they were protesting? And
Oh no, I definitely think that there needs to be some kind of repercussion for their actions. Like you said, you can't just do that in other countries and expect to not have something happen to you. Also, I think that it's interesting you said how they were kind of prepping the Trump people to lose, yet like they're not really taking their own advice. But more importantly, like we should all be able to have different opinions and still be able to talk about it. The fact that like that's what was so interesting about India is like you can have people with all three really devout religions all in a very small space and getting along. You know what I mean? So it's like I feel like we should be able to have Democrats and Republicans and like you know what I mean? That's the whole point of it. We should be able to have it in have different opinions and not do acts like that. Like,
that's why we came here. That's why they called the United States.
Yeah, so
because we were in a monarchy in England, and you were in classes, and you could express your opinion and things like that. That's why we founded this country. So it's amazing that they want to tear up property because they don't win.
I think
this is amazing.
To elaborate on something you said like they need if they're angry, they need to find another outlet for it, and I think that's also a good way to look at it, and also maybe like instead of all the energy these people are putting on like destructing things and burning flags, they should put towards maybe you know what I mean, more of a positive or do something.
Try to change. Change.
Rebuilding.
Yeah, change whatever you're so upset about. Try to change what has you upset. Instead of going about it by anger, by violence, by destruction, because as Joe said, these things are hard earned from people have worked their lives and given their lives for the things that they've built, and to have that taken away from you or destroyed because you don't agree with me or they don't agree is rubbish. It's garbage, Because if you think about it, how would you like it if I didn't agree with you and I went over and I destroyed something of yours?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's not right. It's not right in no shape, form, or fashion. And so it's just people need to find a different outlet. Come together and come to a conclusion and figure something out. You know what I mean?
What do they say that the vibration of the solution is different than the vibration of the problem? So if these people are angry and they feel like they're gonna answer or retaliate in the same vibration, it's not gonna change, like you said, and I think that's most important.
Because for every action there's a reaction, and for every negative reaction or negative action, in turn, you're going to get a negative reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very rare that you'll run across a person who has a negative action thrown at them and responds positively. It's very rare.
You guys have a lot of great views, and I'm going to ask Ken and my sister to speak up just a little bit into the mic. You guys got some wonderful views that America needs to hear, and I want to make sure that when this show goes on the air, and it's going to be all over the country broadcast, I want to make sure these guys hear what you got to say. Now, Joe, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but how old are you?
27.
27. So I'm doubling you up here. So, but it's important that the youth of America, I think, come on radio and TV, and it just shows that everybody is not stupid, and everybody is able to you're able to verbalize your opinions without going out and destroying property and burning the flag and stuff like that. What do you think about the youth of this country, the direction that you think you're out there? I can tell that you have a lot of friends, you talk to people. What are most young people's fears? What are they worried about as far as their future is concerned?
I'd say security. It's their self-security, how well they can make it. Back when you were a child, when you were my age and fell down, ran out of everything, you would just pick yourself back up, go get a new job, something. Now it's like the norm for 25-year-olds to go live back at the parents' house. It's like trying to take it a step backwards. I feel like youth nowadays is a lot more sheltered, and they weren't trained the same way. Not as harsh. People started to, kind of come off the harsher punishments for our children. I don't know. I don't think that was the best thing, because now there's a lot more fear in those children. Wow. The new generation, they're a lot more scared of the future. Some aren't, though. We're
So
also
would you be
the generation of
would you be
entrepreneurs.
considered a millennial? Is that what they call them? Or
Yeah, I'm in the millennial.
millennial.
era.
I hear that term all the time, but I'm so old I don't know what the heck that means. So what is the age group usually they consider millennials?
I think it's from 83 to
Basically, I think it's 82 to like 2098.
Okay, I thought it was much younger, so that's okay.
Because
So they would
I
be
would,
in
I would
their
be considered
30s.
I would be considered in the category as a millennial.
That's
Yeah,
millennial.
I think we all are.
Except me. I'm not. I'm not a millennial.
And our producer.
Our producer. She looks like a millennial, though. She looks
She
like
does.
a millennial. Yeah.
Like, to touch on what you had asked, I think this is probably one of the best things to do, to have the younger generation speak on the issues that we face in America or in the world as we live day to day. Because some of us who are older, whether it be by 10 years, 7 years, 20, 15, we can only elaborate on what we have gone through. And what we do is we just present a path for you guys, but you guys also have to walk down that path yourself. So you have to be able to distinguish what needs to be done for you guys' future. You know what I mean? Even though we can do our best and continue to build the future for you guys as we keep growing at the same time, but you guys still have to build your guys' future as you guys feel needed.
Yes. 1:15. It's 54 degrees in Las Vegas. You are listening to The Conservative American with Chris Garcia. We stream live on radiotribune.com every day from 1 to 1:30 Pacific time. And if you would like to call in and join in on the conversation, 702-983-0711, and you can talk to me or one of my guests live on the air. We are sponsored by the Las Vegas Tribune. We're here in downtown Las Vegas at this wonderful facility here at Radio Tribune. And as you can see, we have the youth of America on today. We're talking to them about social issues in America, very important. Sometimes as older people, we get caught up in our own thoughts and beliefs, and it's good to find out what's going on in America with the younger people because they are the future of America. Again, if you'd like to call in, 702-983-0711 from 1 to 1:30 Monday through Friday Pacific time, and we stream live on Radio Tribune. And later on, our show will be put up on YouTube. You can catch us any time of the day, 24/7. Just Google Chris Garcia, The Conservative American, and you can watch us on YouTube. Sis, I want to get back to you and your travels. You were in India and London, and you were talking about the different perspective from when you went to one country to the next. I'd like you to further talk about that.
It was to go to a country that's so poor and has so much poverty. Especially being born in America it's just a culture shock. It's eye-opening. It gives you a good perspective. They say the best education is through traveling, so you can hear about how poor things are, or about how their countries are. But unless you're there, walking the streets and you actually are seeing people living on the streets, and you can feel it in your stomach. You're just wow, it really gives you a shift, which is good. It makes you very thankful for what you have at home, and it makes you very humble, and you just appreciate things,
Yes. Joe, have you traveled? Have you been out of the country before?
I'm not that far. I've been to Mexico a couple times and Canada.
Mm-hmm. How did they treat you? How did they treat American citizens in Mexico when you went out there?
When I went down there, it was before, I guess, all the big wars were happening, but they treated us the same. I mean, I was kind of young when we tried to go out late at night. They told us, the cop said, no, go back to your hotel. So, I mean, it's rough out there. It's no joke, even in the touristy places, but I don't think they really messed with us too much now that there's no saying.
How do the people treat you down there?
The people were great. I
Treat you
love it.
great.
Yeah, the people are so nice
That's wonderful.
everywhere.
I love the Mexican people. I love
They're so happy. They love to dance. They're loud. They're loud. I'm really loud.
Yeah.
But I get happy with that.
25 shots of tequila.
Oh yeah. And they can drink.
No, it feels good. They're happy to
Yeah.
see you. It's,
That's wonderful.
But again, that's a very impoverished country as well. It's like when it is a culture shock when you go to a place like that because I've never seen anything like it. And there's stray dogs. There's way more people just out and about, tattered clothes, but it's the norm, and they're still so happy. They just have this faith.
that's what
And it's
so amazing to
That's
me
what you were talking
too.
about.
Yeah, it's like the driving force behind it. Like to me, if that was me, I would think I would be leaning to more like being depressed and not having faith. Yet these people, their faith is so strong, so it's very wild. I wanted to touch back what you were saying too about what's the youth facing and what are our concerns and stuff as the future. You said security, and also I think there's a reason why things are changing. After 2008, I remember I graduated college in 2008, and finding jobs after that period of time is very difficult. So there's a reason why all these kids that are now 25, 27 are having to move back home. It's not because they want to.
No.
It's because the job market has changed. The opportunities have changed. And, you know what I mean? Like, when I was little, I was always taught, like, grow up, go to college, you'll get a good job.
Yes.
Well, now, everyone that I know that has graduated, we're all in the same boat, still looking for jobs.
Yes.
And, you have people that graduated from Harvard bagging your groceries at Smith's.
That's
So
right.
I think
That's
that,
right.
I think just a lot of things have changed, and there's it
Cost
also,
of living is going way up too.
Yes.
That's probably
Living.
the biggest factor right there
Yes.
is the fact that you can't financially sustain yourself
Yeah.
on minimum wage.
Yeah.
You just can't get everything that you need. You need a car, you need groceries, you need gas, you need clothes, you need food. And you can't get all those things making little amounts of money like that. Some people, like the average person, needs 2 jobs. No matter
everybody
what
I know has 2 jobs.
and a side like a First Friday art hustle or something.
Yeah.
Everybody needs it, or else you won't survive.
What do you guys feel about that? I'm going to start off with you, Ken, on this. How do you feel? Is there anybody that you blame? Is there anybody you're angry at? Is there anybody that you say, well, this is the reason? Why do you think that most of the youth of America, because I've talked to a lot of young people and they're all facing a similar situation. What do you think the reasoning is?
I could name numerous reasons. I could start off with just parenting. Just by like how people were raised then to how they're raised now, and it's not necessarily the parenting also, but it's the society. As far as disciplining your kids, like how I was disciplined or how we were disciplined to stay out of trouble, to be taught respect, to how to respect your elders and how to move forward and how to act right and not act an ass or something like that. Like when you used to get your butt whooped in the grocery store because mama told you, well, don't you go over there touching that stuff. Well, you should listen to what your mother says. And see, now people they got into in their heads now that no, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't discipline your child like that. But who are you to tell me how I should discipline my child? Maybe if you discipline your child, maybe he or she wouldn't be in that situation. But then at the same time, the laws also dictate how parents treat their or discipline their kids. That, and with the laws in certain places, you have the men in the family who are constantly getting incarcerated and everything.
Yes.
So there's no
Especially in the minority community.
Yeah, especially in the
minority community. What about you guys? What do you think? What do you think some of the reasons are? Is there any situation or people that you blame for why maybe young people are having it so hard on it today?
I wouldn't say there's anybody I blame. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody makes their own choices, and and can really only be responsible, mad at themselves for not trying something different. I think the parenting is very interesting because you're right. Things have changed. I mean, I know when I was little, I did get this, spanking if I was wrong or on timeouts and things, Nowadays, if anyone sees you spanking your kid, you're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
So, are there other ways to discipline? Yes, I think also too, like the newer generations of kids are different. Like when we were kids, we spent all our time outside on bikes. We you know what I mean? Like when the street lights came on and it's time to go home. Like now these kids, I remember I used to substitute when I was in college, and I remember substituting like a second grade class, and these kids, they couldn't read, they couldn't do anything, but like they were setting up all the computers. They knew how to these kids are wired differently. They're
very smart.
So I think one of the biggest things is just staying like up with the times, being progressive and just changing, because like we're not going to be able to hold these kids to the same standards as we were. Granted, disciplining also does need to happen at home and not at school. It needs to be a family home thing. However, you touched on it too. If there's no father figure, or if the setup of the family isn't there to discipline, then you know what I mean. There's a lot of things that are factoring in on these.
What about you, Joe?
I don't like to blame other people for my misfortunes ever. So when I think about it, I guess I would have myself to blame, because at the end of the day, with society changing, things being more expensive, rent, all that, I'm just going to have to try harder. So, I think there was a lot more work ethic in the older generation. Nowadays, kids are they have a lot more to do just from their iPad, their phone, anything. It makes kids a lot more lazy. However, it also creates ideas in their head. That's why there's a lot more, entrepreneurs popping up everywhere.
Absolutely,
like
Joe.
Back when you were younger, if you told everybody you were an entrepreneur, you were the loser. You were the outcast.
Absolutely.
You're going to fail, sir.
Absolutely.
Nowadays, it's, I'm going to put a hat sideways and go get funded $10 million to start this company.
Yes.
So
absolutely, you're absolutely right. When I was coming up, it was about hard work, and the person that worked the hardest is the person that succeeded, and it was more physical. And you go out and you bust your ass, then you'll pay your bills, and you make the most money. And it's so crazy because when I meet with young people and I talk to young people, they are so much further ahead than I was at that time. Mentally, they are so further developed on. I mean, the things that they can show you on these computers and stuff, it's just amazing. And I think I have 6 children, and I'm going to tell you right now, I encourage each and every one of them to be an entrepreneur. Today is the day to have your own ideas and your own business, because they're not going to pay you what you're worth today. If you get a job, you have to have your own company.
I like to follow this great book that I've read about 20 times called The 4-Hour Work Week. And that's what I think today is all about. It's instead of working harder to make it, I'm gonna work as hard as I can so that I can work a lot less. I'm gonna shave that time off, so I'm gonna take that back steps on that one.
Well, before we end the show, we have about 5 minutes. I like to go around the table, and all of you guys have talked to me privately before about some of your entrepreneurial ideas, so I will give you a chance. Joe, I haven't talked to you that much, but it seems like I can tell you have things that maybe you'd like to get advanced later on in your life. So what are some of the things or business ideas that you have? You have the opportunity right now to say it.
So I like style, clothes, things that make people smile. I like to, bring happiness to people.
I'm doing this because when all of you all become billionaires, I can say I had you.
I mean, I like to give back too. I was actually just talking to Ken last night about this. Is when I do strike it big, I want to give back pretty much everything to the community I came from. I want to help the homeless. I don't like to see poverty. I've seen it firsthand. I've witnessed it myself personally, and it's not a feeling that I would wish on anybody.
Before we get to Yazzie, that's one thing I will have to say that is so different about you guys compared to my generation. You guys are so much more socially conscious. You really care. that was called soft or weakness when I was coming up.
Wow, interesting.
It was a sign of weakness when you cared about, it was all about you're a man, take care of your own family. If you didn't, you're a family. And today, the young people are so socially conscious. They care about their fellow. They really do. They don't want to just make themselves. They want to lift up other people too. I think the young people, that's amazing. That's a quality my generation did not have. It was about you taking care of your own. You make it on your own and don't ask nobody for nothing. If you did, you were a failure. They were called soft people if you did that, That's what about you? I know you got a lot of business ideas and things
going on.
Yeah, tell people possibly what things that, I know we're going to try to keep you here in the family on radio TV, but.
Something that I would want to work towards getting is an outlet for, all these children, between the ages of, 18 to, all these foster children that are 18 and then they're let go, and they have no guidance or something, I've been kind of thinking of working more towards the next generation, and just you know what I mean, dealing with the psyche and how they're gonna develop and deal with different types of things. I'm working towards something like that.
That's big. That's good. And we're hopefully that we can talk you into to being a part of the Radio Tribune family. I'm sure people would love to listen to you if you host the show, and we're going to work with that with the owner. And you guys might be seeing my sister here, Yasmin, on Radio Tribune. Ken, what about you? I know there's a lot of big things that you talk to me about all the time. So.
Well, me, I'm a very service-oriented individual. I like helping individuals out.
That's a thing, helping people.
That's so wild.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a big difference in generations.
And like Joe said, most of it is because of the life that I've led up to this point. I've lived in poverty. I've struggled. Even as we speak, still struggling. But no matter the outcome of what I've been through, I will always give somebody the best that I can. Like when I left from over here last night, as I was jumping on the bus, it was a homeless guy, or less fortunate, let me just say that. And he was at the bus stop, and not even thinking twice or anything of it. The first thing that came to me when I saw him, I was like, "Excuse me, brother, you need any gloves?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, I could use a pair of gloves." And I gave him some brand new pair of snow gloves. That's wonderful. And it wasn't even it was nobody but me and him on the bus stop. So it wasn't me doing it for the eye of anybody else. It was just me doing it because that's
I think that's wonderful, and I'm telling you, that's one thing I give credit. I always tell older people because we tend to be cynical and we look down on people that generation, and that's one thing. And the only thing I say, I think it's wonderful to look out and see the young people protesting and being involved. There's nothing wrong with that, but just make sure you understand that you don't want to express yourself by destroying somebody else's dreams, which is what Joe said earlier. I thank you guys for being on my show today. We're talking about social issues and younger people. I think it's just wonderful to have you guys on, and you guys are going to be watched later on by America, and they're going to learn a lot from you guys tonight. Thank you for watching my show once again. Very important guest on tomorrow on Face the Tribune with Rolando LaRosa. You want to make sure from 12 to 1 o'clock you listen to us live streaming on radiotribune.com, and then I will be on from 1 to 1:30 on Chris Garcia, the Conservative American. Daniel Bendia, and thank you again for watching my show. Thank you, my guests, for having me. Thank you for this opportunity. God bless America. God bless our troops all over the world, and Godspeed to Donald Trump.